Now time for Big D Energy with four-time Stanley Cup champ Darren McCarty, former Lion Joik Bell, and the golden voice of Neil Rule. Live on the Woodward Sports Network, 99.1 and 93.5 The Roar, the Woodward Sports app, and anywhere you listen to podcasts. Let's talk some sports. It's Big D Energy.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Big D Energy right here on the Woodward Sports Network. My name is Neil Rule. He is the four-time Stanley Cup champion.
Poppin' top,
sitting ringside at Monday Night Raw down at LCA, which we will discuss here in just a couple of minutes. He is D-Mac, Darren McCarty. You know we got Sam in the bowl. Sawyer is mixing and scratching on the ones and twos as well. Happy to have you all with us here. What is today? Tuesday, right? We're just clipping away here.
Don't ask me. I can't count the days.
Yeah. All I know is because last night was Monday Night Raw, but I do want to talk about that for a few minutes. And look, I've noticed wrestling is it's an all or nothing proposition. Like, people are really into it or they're really not into it. And for me, it's one of those things where I liked it when I was a kid, just like everybody else did. And then I kind of fell out of it. And then in college, I kind of got back into it. And then I fell out of it again. But my kids are, that age, right around teenagers. And my oldest son likes it a lot. So got the opportunity to take them down there last night and had a good time, and it was a lot of fun, and it was entertaining and all that stuff. And D-Mac, as you guys know, big wrestling guy. Huge wrestling guy.
Just to your point before we continue this, Neil, is wrestling is like golf to me, and even like hockey if you play, you can pick it up and put it down. And right now it's another renaissance like it was in the 90s, the Stone Cold we talk about. And the independent scene and everything else, I think that with technology, with the internet, being able to see everybody everywhere, that it allows people to get in more. But the biggest show, the WWE was in town yesterday.
It was.
So you and I are both, you're under the guise of your kids, and
right.
You're also, I would say moderate.
Yeah, moderate's a good word. Moderate's a good word
whereas
for it.
I have a problem.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, I'm not going to lie
to you. That's okay.
It's
good problem. Guys, listen.
It's fun.
Addicts will be addicts. I'll just be addicted to wrestling. But sorry to interrupt. Wait, what? Hold, that's Jimmy Smith and Byron Sexton and Corey Graves. Shout out to Corey Graves. Good. Oh, D-Mac's behind him, just applauding. I was standing there just in case they needed some help, but they did a good job.
It was so on brand last night. You got Darren McCarty sitting there ringside with the people, man of the people, just right there in the mix. And then you got me. That's Braylon Edwards, by the way, out there in the house.
Bray and I was sitting behind Jimmy, the commentary. It was perfect, and he was to my left, about in the same spot, and we were going nuts, through the different matches and stuff. And you know what? That's I don't know. Love what you love. That's what I love.
Sure.
In the Renaissance. But you were there.
No, I was there. You're sitting there ringside behind the
the
television
people.
Broadcast. I'm in the Kuman Club right there at the club level there. That's how it was very on brand for both of us, having a bourbon, watching the show and all that kind of stuff with my kids. But I did notice that is through all of it, and you can think what you want. Now, there are a couple people in our YouTube chat thread. And by the way, if you're tapping in on the YouTube chat thread, welcome here on the Woodward Sports YouTube channel, also on radio, all our social media outlets, everything that we got going on. Happy to have you with us through whatever medium you are choosing. And oh, by the way, big show lined up, too. Craig Reynolds will be joining us at 11:15. Yeah, Joik Bell will be V-mixing in as well. We'll talk Lions football with Craig Reynolds. Got him for 2 segments, too. Craig's kind enough to take some extra time. I know there's a lot of questions for Craig Reynolds, some friends of D-Mac's big project that D-Mac was involved with as well that involves Sylvester Stallone and his production crew. We'll talk a little bit later.
We're stepping up, folks. We're stepping up.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. But we'll talk to them at the noon hour. Giles Andrew and Elliot Watson, they're filmmakers, documentary guys as well. D-Mac was a subject of a huge podcast that Sylvester Stallone's the executive producer of. We'll discuss that coming up at noon. But through all that, you know what I did notice yesterday? And this is what I liked about it. And you can think what you want about wrestling. That's cool. I can see it if you don't like it, and I can see it if you do like it. I'm just kind of there hanging out.
It's soap operas.
It's a male soap opera.
It's a male and female, but it's
kids.
And the thing is if you are educated on it or taught how to watch it, just like anything else, like doesn't that sound like life? If somebody teaches you something and you learn more about it, you begin to like it a little bit more. But in saying that, you got to remember, this has been around for my whole life.
Right.
Like the WWF to WWE, but we're talking about even Monday Night Raw, and I know I see some of the comments, yeah, wrestling's great, but Raw's the worst show out there, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Here's the thing, D-Mac. You know what I saw? And there were a lot of people like me. So what I try to do, and you and I have had this discussion before, my kids, the gaming world or wrestling or whatever they're in, I'm going to try to get into it.
Understand, at least understand it, right?
Because they have a passion for it. So whatever, man, I'll facilitate that passion. I saw so many fathers with their kids, mothers with their kids, and for me, man, if that's what you like and that's how you guys spend time together, cool, man. You're spending time together, so it's all good.
And you know what? That's why we're Vince McMahon, and I said to you earlier, it's the opera. It's Vince McMahon's Broadway show, right? So you're there. I mean, it's not like a regular. I tell everybody tomorrow night down in Monroe, the IWR with a lot of the Impact guys, the Trey Miguel's, Chris Sabins, Rhino, stuff like this. This is more of the people, more of that house show, as they say, instead of television. But to see everybody enjoy it at different times for different reasons. I mentioned to you, dude, I mean, you mentioned that you're a huge Riddle.
Matt Riddle guy. Love the guy.
Tammy's done autograph shows with him, and she's counted for him and says he's the nicest kid too. And and you could see it. I love Randy Orton. I love the guys, but I didn't realize right until the end there is that sitting where I was, but and how good the Miz is. Just
the best.
How good.
And those are the guys I like, right? Like the athleticism does blow me away, especially, and you have to see it in person before, it plays more in person than it does on TV as far as like their athleticism and how big they are and how they can move and all that stuff. I like the guys, as you would figure, good on the microphone. I love guys that wear getting booed because it's got to be such a rush to get booed by 10,000, 15,000 people, 80,000 people at once. It's got to be awesome.
They don't boo you if they don't like you or whatever. But to that point is, a lot of things come back. And I think with wrestling, because it's been, a lifelong thing, is I didn't realize, like, Edge, when he came out at the end there with the Miz and his music hit, I mean, I had chills through I popped up, and you know what I'm saying? It brought back a lot of memories and a lot of things like that. But just being there in the environment and seeing what the production is, right? To anybody who's never seen a live show, especially a live TV show, it's not your typical wrestling because half the time guys are standing around, during commercial breaks and stuff like that. So I had a great time and also enjoyed it because it was packed.
It was
signs everywhere. Everybody, it was a great atmosphere. Everybody was there to have a good time.
They were.
Everybody was booing. Everybody got the old somebody talk. What? What? You got Eric Bischoff. He even got. I loved it at the end after. Spoiler alert. Miz and Maurice got slimed, but Miz gives Eric Bischoff a hug, and his wife soon Bischoff stands there going, wait, like this. And also too, I said to this earlier. One of my favorite parts of the show was Matt Riddle getting Randy Orton to hug him because it's breaking the Viper, and then he faked RKO'd him, and then he turned around and he hugged him. No, just kidding.
Yeah, started laughing.
I like the
fun.
layers, right? The layers.
Yeah, and the production, everything that goes into it. It is amazing, too, like when you see it behind the scenes, just how many people are working on that show. And you had a good terminology for it. You called it a Broadway show. Which is exactly what WWE is. It's a Broadway show that I think is more accessible to people, just in that they can relate a little bit more. And it was. I know a lot of people crack on it. I'm not going to spend a whole show talking about wrestling or break down storylines or anything like that.
No, Sawyer and I are going to start a new what do we call it? Racing and wrestling.
Wrestling and racing. R&R Wednesday.
Racing. Stay tuned. In
R&R
2022.
wins.
Yeah, that'll be the
R&R,
shows that I
racing.
take off. Like that'll be I can go get happy hour started early during those shows. No, but it was a lot of fun. John Suba on our YouTube chat thread. Neil, you would be a great manager on the microphone. I would.
Yes,
I'm not gonna lie to you.
You are. You got Heyman in you.
100%.
You do.
He's one of the best of all time.
He's the GOAT. You look at time spent, from the ECW days, from Paulie Dangerously to the evolution to what he is now, and having his hands on this Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, advocate to tribal council to where it goes. I mean, I'm locked in.
Hey guys, don't worry. I'm gonna keep D-Mac from the weeds on you. He's gonna keep trying to jump in the weeds here about the wrestling stuff. Hey guys, I got you. All right, I got you. I'm gonna pull him back out of the weeds, and we'll be okay. But Rack says, D-Mac, you can be my wrestling dad. We can spend time together at the shows. So.
You got it, bud. Let's do it. Let's do it.
But yeah, Matt Riddle getting a lot of love too in the YouTube chat thread. He's funny. For him to be able to pull that character off is incredible.
Yeah.
And he never breaks character, and he's great, man. And he's athletic as hell. And I'm waiting for the time where he's kind of a more prominent feature. That time's got to be coming, right?
Well, I think that's you never know with the WWE,
right?
Because they can change on a dime. You know what I'm saying? You usually see in other, and even in the independents, there's like such a slow burn to some of the storylines. So I don't know. I don't pay attention other than like enjoying watching those guys. How about it's nothing like seeing Matt Riddle jump over the ropes and kick those flip-flops off, right?
Yeah.
I mean, live. There's certain things you got to see live, and one of the things too. And I'll get off, and we'll go to sports, to real sports.
Craig
or
Reynolds
whatever,
coming up in a few minutes.
is AJ Styles. To the point that you said about the Miz, AJ Styles is one of the originals that could wrestle. So I was happy to see him wrestle yesterday.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. That
All
was
the
the
old
moral
guys,
of the story.
so to
yeah.
speak.
Rack, keeping D-Mac from the weeds is an impossible job.
Yes, it is. Yeah. He said weeds. He didn't. He pluralized it. He's got a chance.
Crazy Clown. I used to watch wrestling a lot when I was a kid. Had rabbit ear antenna and had to fight, scratch, and claw to get wrestling to come in clear enough to watch. And we all have those stories, from when we were a kid. But it's a lot of fun and a lot of good family time. I think was being spent. I do like the way, and then maybe this makes me soft. I don't know. I do kind of like the way they've spun away from. Like the Attitude Era and, like the Val Venuses
because
and stuff like that.
But here's the thing. What Vince realizes, where's the money always with the kids and the merch and all that stuff and the parents, right? We're going to back off and do everything else, and now you can go other places. That's the beauty about wrestling. If you put time in, you can go find what you like.
Absolutely.
Like what you like.
Like what you like. And if you like betting on sports, the MyBookie.ag is certainly something that you'll like. And I got another thing that you'll like about MyBookie.ag. They're doubling your first deposit all the way up to $1,000. All you got to do, use a promo code Woodward. They'll double your first deposit all the way up to $1,000. You can get down on anything, too, at MyBookie.ag. The interface is clean, very easy to understand. All that side stuff, like, there's clever marketing campaigns and stuff like that. The bottom line with MyBookie is it's sleek and it's easy to use. Period. End of story. And by the way, they're going to double your first deposit up to $1,000. I think that checks every single box you're looking for in a sports book. MyBookie.ag is the answer. I'm glad we could get this figured out for you guys. They take deposits in crypto. They can pay out in crypto. However you guys want to get down, you can get down at MyBookie.ag. So don't miss out. Double your first deposit up to $1,000 using the promo code Woodward. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. Got a gambling problem? Get your life in order. Call the Problem Gambling Helpline, 1-800-270-7117.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We're recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand.
Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10 and a half months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
Hire a graduate
Of Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Your Detroit alternative to the normal sports blah, blah, blah. It's Woodward Sports.
Energy on the Woodward Sports Network. My name is Neil Rule. He's D-Mac, Darren McCarty, four-time Stanley Cup champion. Welcome in the third wheel of our show. Joik Bell joining us. He's off for the holiday break. And another special guest as well. He broke off 112 yards against the Arizona Cardinals. He is Craig Reynolds. Couple of running backs here, guys that know the position very well. Craig, appreciate you joining us here on Big D Energy. How's things, man?
Everything's all good. Appreciate you having me.
Absolutely happy to have you along.
Real quick, Craig, you know what? I appreciate you taking time out, man. You guys have a lot going on right now, and yeah, you know, you're quickly becoming a fan favorite. I took notice to you on the Broncos game, and then the Arizona kind of sealed the deal for me, so I'm all in on Craig Reynolds. Real quick, I have one question for you real quick. Well, actually, I have quite a few, but we'll start off with this. So when you got the call from the Lions, right, you get to the airport, you are experiencing flight delay after flight delay after flight delay. Did you have any concerns, and were you staying in contact with the team through that time? Like, what was going through your head at that time?
I was mostly in contact with my agent, and he was, kind of letting them know where I was in the process. Yeah, it was a pain, though. I was just I'm flying through Philly, trying to get to the airport. I get there, and the luggage and all that stuff was an issue, and then I think it's like you have 15 minutes to board or something like that before you have to be already boarded or something. I missed it anyway, so and I, hearing that phone ring, I'm calling him, and he answers. He's like, "Did you make it?" And I'm like, "No." And he's like, "Dang." So I used to go back to them, and I had to get my flight changed. It was just a hassle. It was a hassle.
Yeah.
Talking with Craig Reynolds here on Big D Energy. Joik Bell, Neil Rule, Darren McCarty. And Craig, I got one that's kind of a follow-up to that situation that you're talking about. As as an undrafted guy and a guy that's had to fight, scratch and claw for every single thing he's ever got in the National Football League. What about that? What about that's the hardest thing? Just people that know your story a little bit. Is it harder to stay in shape mentally or physically as you're kind of waiting for the phone to ring, not knowing exactly what's going on? What's tougher?
I'd probably say the mental aspect. Everybody always talks about, stay ready or, control the controllable, which I try to tell myself a lot, but it's harder, to do it than it is to say it. But yeah, just doing that, controlling what I can, and just staying prepared mentally, and staying sharp because, it happened in, middle of August or so anything can happen at any moment, and just trying to stay ready.
Craig, I wanted to say not only welcome to the show, but welcome to Detroit. And I'm a big fan because of the way you play. You run hard, bro. Where does that come from, and who did you look up to? Was there certain running backs you looked up to, or you try to emulate their style or take pieces off of?
It kind of, I didn't run. This wasn't really my running style in college. I play a lot of different positions, and I was all over the field. So I kind of developed it throughout the years of just playing and the opportunities, just working on little things with my coaches back at home at Kutztown, my running back coach, Marcel Quarterman, and my receiver coach, Steve Heck. So that's something that just kind of developed. And I'd say a running back that I looked up to growing up, I was a big fan of Arian Foster when he was in Houston coming up through high school. Nice. And I always liked his style. I've watched so much of his tape, his All-22 tape, just little things as I was coming up through college that I wanted to, get better at.
You know what? It's funny you say that. I remember when I was in Philly actually with Deuce Staley, and I have a question for him. But I remember Mike Vick pulled me to the side, and I was on practice squad. I wasn't playing too much. Actually, I wasn't playing at all. And he said, "You know what, Drake, man? You kind of remind me of Arian Foster. You just need your shot." And kind of similar to you just needed your shot, right? And speaking of Deuce Staley, he gave you the nickname Netflix. What was your thoughts on that when he gave that to you? Did you have any prior nicknames prior to that?
No, I didn't have any prior nicknames. I mean, people kind of, move my name around. So C-Ray, I've been called, but no nicknames like that. Netflix, yeah. When I was called Netflix, it was early on in my time here, so I was just a quiet kid, and I didn't mind. It was just like okay, but and looking back, it is funny. But yeah, me and Deuce have a great relationship. He's a great running back coach. I appreciate him. He's helped me so much ever since I've gotten here, and he's also just a great person to be around.
Talking with Craig. Go ahead.
Netflix, I'm sorry. So
Yeah.
Netflix came from because you were quiet and you watch Netflix all the time. How did you get Netflix out of all names?
I mean, I think because he said that I was on the couch, I was just at home pretty much essentially, and then I got the call, and then I just was literally just played in the preseason game the next day. So I'm guessing that.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay.
It
All right.
was just top of his head, I guess.
Okay, I just wanted the history of it.
Talking with Craig Reynolds here on Big D Energy. So, Craig, you put out a tweet, and fans obviously can follow Craig on his social media platforms as well. You put out a tweet about how you love this team. And the biggest question I'm seeing from the fans that everybody that I've talked to that wants to know about this Lions football team, in this day and age where we've seen things go off the rails for some teams, where maybe the results aren't what the team wants, what the players want, or anything like that, this team seems to be built different than that, where you guys are, every single week, no matter what's happened, no matter what obstacles have come out, you guys really do seem to lay it on the line. This team seems to resonate, I think, with the fans here in Detroit. Regardless of the record, what is it about this football team? Why is this football team built different? Is it the Dan Campbell effect, where you guys will go out there and you give 1,010% no matter what? Do you feel that as a player on this team, where no matter what the circumstances are, why are you guys playing so hard every week when some other teams in the league might not be playing as hard as you guys are?
We definitely play for each other, the guys in the locker room and the coaching staff. I mean, they believe in us. We believe in each other. Sometimes things might not come out on our end late in games, or so be it. But, we just come back to work every week and ready, and we're hungry. There is definitely a brotherhood in this locker room. I'd say that for sure. And I go out there and I give it my all for those guys. Especially being on P Squad, they were always, positive energy, stay ready, Craig, and, great support for me. And those guys in there just, like I said in the tweet, man, I love this team. The coaching staff's great. We come out here ready to work week in and week out and just control what we can.
I think that they're talking to Craig Reynolds. Obviously, they call him Netflix. He got hired on his day off. That was
he got hired on his day off. Right?
But my question to you is you personally, as far as goals, and obviously to stick and to be able to be signed, but moving forward, what are we as Lions fans? Neil brought up the point of the foundation that the coach and the atmosphere and the support, but what aren't we seeing as part of this team? And you guys are doing all this, like you said, you got the opportunity to come in because guys were hurt or guys were down. What did you see for this team moving forward? We got 2 games left in this thing. I have this counter that I use, and it's we're at 15 of 34. Right? So my counter is to 2 seasons before the reevaluate. Maybe I'll ask you this. Maybe this is a question, Craig. With 2 games left in this season and a whole next season, give me something positive as a Lions fan why I should buy in to this team, like you say that, even more so than I am now.
We're a group of fighters, man. Like I said, the brotherhood, the camaraderie we have as a locker room and the staff and everybody in the whole building, we're hungry. And we're looking day in and day out to get better and finding the little things and the details of this game that we can hone in on to get better. And we're going to go out there and we're going to attack. We don't care who lines up in front of us. We're gritty. We're tough. We're going to make it our kind of game. We're going to be physical with you. We're going to play 4 quarters of football in all 3 phases.
Love it. I love it. Craig Reynolds, everybody. So, Craig, a guy that I want to bring to the table is he was a former coach from the Lions. He was very, very much so influential in my career, in my life. Coached me my rookie year, coached me 4 years on the Lions. My question for you is, his name is Curtis Mockins, which is now the running back coach for the Broncos, but his son, Jack Mockins, is now the coach for the Lions, assistant special team coach. Have you guys interacted at all since you've been there? And has he been beneficial to you and your?
Yeah. We talk all the time. He helps me with special teams after practice, especially early on in the year, just trying to get the lingo down, the terminology, what my job would be. Yeah, love him. He's a great dude. He's helped me out. We go back and we watch film after practice, focus on the little things, like I said before. But yeah, he's a great dude. I love him.
Good. So this kind of a follow-up question to that. So since you've been there, who's been your biggest influence there in the Lions organization?
Biggest influence? I've had so many, and that's the great part about it. So many people have definitely looked out for me, whether it's the strength staff, the trainers, you guys, Deuce. I probably say Deuce. He's the most hands-on with me. We talk day in and day out. He's coaching me, whether it's in the film room, on the field, talking outside of football, life in general. Staying after watching film with him. I definitely say Deuce.
Okay, that's funny, and it's funny because that's my follow-up question. I figured it would be Deuce, right? And our beat writer Corey Wood said that watching you guys in practice, he sees that Deuce is very demanding of you guys, but you gotta respect them. And I can agree with that firsthand. Being with Deuce, he was very influential to me, and this kind of see how important he is to you is kind of like a full turnaround. Right? And so it's pretty dope. And I'm happy to see everything is going well for you, man. Honestly,
appreciate
that. Road's not easy for a Division II running back coming in, playing with multiple teams, and then so I'm happy to see everything is working out for you.
Appreciate that. It means a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Craig, we do appreciate your time, man. Appreciate you stopping by here on Big D Energy. And you got a ton of fans out there, man.
Can I ask one last question?
Yeah, go ahead, D-Man.
Craig, best part of being a professional football player? And it doesn't have to be on the field.
The best part?
Free food.
What's the best part about being a professional football player?
I'd say probably the relationships you build with your teammates.
Come on, man! Don't tell me that. Tell me like, man, the money. Tell me something that you got to buy. The stuff. I get the relationships. No, trust me, bro. I know that's all that. I'm looking a little deeper. What's cool? Like room service, like the ice cream that you get that you could give the people a little bit more.
All right, I'd say one of the cooler things is when we travel. We get police escorts, so we don't have to wait in traffic after.
Damn, there it is, son. Isn't that cool?
Pretty cool.
And you know what? We had to win Stanley Cups in hockey in order to get the police escorts. So there you go. You got it. Thank you for that, Craig. I like that. Those are the nuggets, baby.
Poor D-Mac.
Yeah.
Poor D-Mac.
NHL getting to spend. No, Craig, we appreciate you stopping by, though, big bro, and continued success, man. Stay hungry, keep doing your thing. We'll talk again soon, man.
Thanks, Craig.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys for having me.
Yeah, Craig, Netflix Reynolds in there. Everybody, that's the guy right there. Joik, appreciate you, hooking that up for sure. Good to talk to
Pull
Craig.
Up on him.
And yeah, absolutely. Joik Bell, everybody's tapping in on his time off as well. That's big time of Joik.
You guys too serious, man, a lot of time. We got to get to these kids. That's why, I know I was running around with a question, but I want to know who this kid is. That's why I'm going to bring back Grind Time with Darren McCarty in the new year. Stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
D-Man, so you asked him the question. What was yours? Your best part of being a pro?
You want to score goals, make money? You want to bleed? Chicks dig that.
The chicks like the fighters.
Chicks like the fighters.
All right.
I've been right. That's too much. Terry Foster was in here. Now it's Sun Bowl's back on, by the way.
Sun Bowl is back on.
He's rubbing off on me.
Joik, appreciate you tapping in, man, during your time off. That's big time. Thanks for setting it up with Craig.
Back to the beach in the Bahamas, wherever you are.
Yeah. All right, Joik Bell, everybody. We'll catch you back up with Joik after the new year. No, Craig, man, seems like a great dude. He does for sure. Very grounded. And those are the dudes you root for, man.
Yeah, dude, and I know he's got like this is a kid of perseverance. You know what I'm saying? So he's got character, and you know some of these young guys. I mean, too much sports. Let's get personal to some of these guys because we can see that, right? We can see that locker room. It's not just putting on the I play for my teammates and this. No, we see that because they continue to fight. And they fight when it's down, and they fight for each other. And these are guys that have gotten this opportunity, that have come in and embraced this. So I want to know who they are. And police escorts, so you don't have to wait in traffic. Score.
They are the best. You know what else is the best? Bowling Warehouse in Hamtramck is the best as well. Home of the original football bowling pin game called Foaling. We should ask Craig Reynolds, has he done the Foaling bit yet?
There you go.
I think I'll have to
him
do
down
that.
there. Maybe he'll enjoy a $2 PBR.
Just like
if
our
lucky.
own Sawyer did. But you can host your corporate party team building event, or you can just pull up on the Foaling Warehouse. They got an open play option as well. You can rent and reserve lanes also if you got a little bit larger group. They got the drinks taken care of. There's multiple full bars, over 100 beers available. As D-Mac alluded to, the $2 mystery beer vending machine. Our own Sawyer pulled out a Colt 45 and pulled out an Old Milwaukee. They've got everything you need as far as the mystery beer vending machine is as well. So go get your foal on. Go to foalingwarehouse.com. Check it out for yourself. All your coworkers have done it. Your friends have done it. Why aren't you down there at the Foaling Warehouse? Go get your foal on.
Fellas, football season is here. It's time to make your grooming experience easy like Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Follow us everywhere. Just search Woodward Sports on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, IG, and more.
Back at it here, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Neil Rule, D-Mac, Darren McCarty. Appreciate Joik Bell tapping in, along with his good buddy, Craig Reynolds, as well. Really good dude, man. Really good to get a chance to talk to him. I know everybody in the YouTube chat thread certainly is rooting for him. Two-track Jack. I wish Craig naturally great health and longevity as an NFL player. Those do usually go hand in hand, though.
Yeah,
they do.
Yeah.
Stay healthy. You keep playing. That's just the way that it works. D-Mac getting some run too in the YouTube chat thread. Juices Ghost. Craig just treated D-Mac like the media instead of Uncle
D.
D.
We haven't met yet. Obviously, don't treat me like media. The only one I said, Chris Draper told me that he can't tell me things now because I'm media, and I said that's the nicest thing he's ever said to me. But don't anybody else treat me like that.
Yeah. I do.
I'll go crawl back up, and you know what? Yes. It's not extra gummies, Sawyer. It's D-Mac's own gummies I'm on today. So there you go.
Yeah.
I'm on my own supply.
Soon to be available.
Soon to be available, yeah probably this weekend. I know next weekend the Greenhouse in Walled Lake, we're doing appearance Friday.
There you go. Just a subtle little plug. The art of the plug, everybody.
That's it.
You acknowledge it and you move on.
No police escort needed.
Dude, the police escort
it's
is
the best.
Sweet.
Dude, I'll tell you this because we went to the White House. That's the times we went in the cops and stuff like this, and to land there and the first time to actually do it, and the guys are standing on the bus, and you're flying through like 70 miles an hour, and there's cops everywhere, kicking cars, everything like that. Buses flying out. It was exciting. Like I remember guys saying, joking around, it'd be like the second period or whatever. Oh man, hey, let's go win this for a bus ride, right? Let's go have another bus ride.
Yeah, it's funny because in college basketball you get those when March Madness comes around. Like we played in the conference championship game last year in Indianapolis, so you get that, and then when you go to the NCAA tournament, you get that as well. But what I've always laughed about as far as that goes is I always talk about the finality of the NCAA tournament, which is probably not unlike the finality of the NHL playoffs, in that every time you go on the ice or every time a college basketball team goes on the floor, they think that they're winning and they're moving on. Like,
Right.
it doesn't matter what the spreads are or upsets or anything like that. You always think you're winning and moving on until you're not. And I noticed that there are no police escorts away from the arena when you lose. You ever notice that, D-Man?
Is there when you win?
When you win
to the plane.
Yeah, to the plane. There is when you win.
But when you lose,
I'll give you a good story, man. The second time we went to the NCAA tournament, we played against Texas when they had Tristan Thompson, Corey Joseph, who's still on the Pistons, by the way, Jordan Hamilton. They had 3 NBA guys on that team. We lost by like 3 points or whatever it was in 2011. And I do the post-game radio stuff with Campy. And I get the stuff packed up, and they're doing the shoot around for the next game. Because in the NCAA tournament, the second you lose,
you're
out. Like, you are out.
So how about if you have your papers and your computer or whatever, and the buzzer goes to your game? How long? Do you have less than 5 minutes?
No, because they have like separate. That's why there's so much media at the NCAA tournament. So they have like separate.
But how
rows.
Team benches? I mean, everybody's cleaned in and out. And what's the shoot around? What's a turnover in the shoot
30
around?
minutes.
That's it.
Yeah, they pop 30 minutes on the clock. As soon as your game is over, that clock starts ticking. They get out on the floor. They're doing their shoot around. They're getting ready to roll. So I get my stuff packed up. I do the post-game interview with Camp, sign off for the season or whatever. And I'm walking back down the tunnel back to the locker room. And the game has been over for like 10 minutes at this point. There is a dude on a ladder in the Bank Oklahoma Center sliding the Oakland nameplate off the locker. You're out. Like, the second you lose, you're out. They're like, hey, get on the bus and get out of here. We need the locker rooms.
Yeah, that's
the way it works, man.
What have you done for me lately? So how many bus? So you've had a few bus trips?
Yeah, we've had a couple of the police escorts, and then kind of the same deal. When I did Pistons Wizards, my very first NBA game, we flew into to DC, and it was the same deal. They were having a international summit there, because I remember. And here's kind of a good story for you. I remember hearing the players on the plane mad about the fact the Four Seasons was all the way full, so we couldn't stay at the Four Seasons. And I was kind of disappointed too, because we're Division I. Like
you're like in the guys.
We don't stay in the Roadway Inn or anything like that, but we do like Courtyard Marriotts. I mean, it's okay, but it's
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, they're fine. But I was like all hype. I'm in the league.
Wait, let me correct that. Courtyard Marriotts, we love you if you want to sponsor us.
No, they're great. Well, the Marriott theme holds true here. So, Four Seasons is booked. I was low key. I was kind of disappointed by that because here I am, like first time like in the show, and I hear them say, we got to stay at the JW Marriott. And I'm like, man, I've never heard of that Marriott before. The JW Marriott, like,
it's a goodie.
And so we go. We're like a block away from the monuments and all that kind of stuff. And I walk in there, and they got the chandelier, and the floors got the the rooms have hardwood floors and all that kind of stuff. And you don't handle your bags and all that. It's a different world.
I ain't getting in unless I'm on the bus.
Yeah.
But I'm with them. I'm with those guys. You sure? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I keep waiting for someone to say, hey, you're not allowed in here. But it is funny though how that stuff works, man. The finality of when you lose. There are no police escorts after you lose.
Nor should there be?
Nor should there
Isn't
be.
that participation trophy?
That is participation trophy.
Good.
Coming up around noon, we'll be joined by Giles Andrew and Elliot Watson. The Onra production company, they actually produce and make the documentaries to the Comeback podcast that Darren McCarty was featured in.
You want to just talk about this a little bit? So, little backstory to having this done. And we mentioned Sylvester Stallone as executive producer, and it's Comeback, different people, different lives and stuff like this. But, the process of this, how it comes about, and I don't know, usually in the podcast world or being able to do it digitally goes quicker, but I think, and I can't recall, it was probably 6 or 7 months ago, maybe 8 months ago, that I recorded this interview. And it's always interesting because I don't really usually watch, because when I say what anybody else thinks about you is none of your business, you really shouldn't read comments then or watch things. But I'll be interested because a lot of people that are important in my life and important for me to have gotten here get to talk that we never talk about, right?
Yeah.
So it'll be exciting and to great to know these two guys too, because this is a big time production company. This is a bigger thing. So my hope anywhere is if it motivates somebody, somebody to know that they're not alone. You're not alone out there. Don't ever quit. Always get back up. Keep that hand raised, and somebody will be there. So I mean, it's something that I'm really proud of. I mean, yesterday we saw the Aunt Jackie video. I'm proud of that, to be able to bring positivity. But I'm excited because I think it's a why, because I'm 6 years, a little over 6 years into this sort of journey or this sort of lifetime, and it'll be interesting to know a lot of times where I want to go and where I am going in the journey. We talk about this and Sawyer and about that. So it's always interesting to facilitate and put everybody together. So it'd be nice to have a conversation, because I haven't talked to these guys in probably 7 or 8 months. And I like documentaries, or I listen, like Talk is Jericho and whatever, how he does and how he has people on and recurring and over time to see how it is. So I hope, one person out there gets something from it, then they've done their job.
Yeah, absolutely. And DMAC was featured on the Comeback podcast. Sylvester Stallone is the executive producer of that, and we'll catch up with Giles Andrew and Elliot Watson of the Onra Company, and they'll talk about that. I have a couple questions, and the whole line of podcasts are comeback stories and people that have been to the top, kind of fallen off, and then made their way back, because I bet there's some commonalities in all the stories that I told. I bet there are some commonalities.
And it's interesting, even though to be, I guess, like a subject of one, but to find out that, because it's the ingredient, because we all have it. It's just unlocking it. I believe that. It's just what level are you willing to go to? So, hey, it's all about the journey here anyways. And you know what? What's your journey going to consist of on Saturday night?
Saturday night, what do we got going on? That is New Year's Day, correct?
There's no bowl game, but
no, we have a game. Like I gotta do the Oakland game, for ESPN Plus and the radio. Yeah, we're playing Youngstown State on New Year's Day at 3:00.
Oh, okay. So what about New Year's Eve?
New Year's Eve, probably just maybe pour the gypsy out a little bit. You're still gonna do that? Yeah. I mean, come on. It's New Year's Eve. If you're not going to do it on New Year's Eve,
you're going to garnish it up?
When you're going to do it. And you know how I'm going to do it, because I tell you guys all the time, 50 different formulas, countless taste tests, produced probably the best tasting vodka in the whole free world. It is Gypsy Vodka, Michigan's gluten-free vodka, core distilled 6 times. They use artesian spring water, all of that. But more than that, look, I can't give you the formulas and how everything works. I'm very, very simple, guys. I pour it in the glass. I pour a little more in the glass. I throw some club soda in there and put a lime in there, and it's good. That's all I got for you. All right? I mean, what other testimonial is there to give to say, when I drink it, I like it? Period, end of story. But if you're into like resumes and things like that, they're a local company here in Michigan based out of Petoskey. If that makes you feel good, buy a bottle of Gypsy Vodka. But you know what makes me feel good? Drinking the Gypsy Vodka. Hard stop. That's all I got for you guys. I'm sorry. That's what it is. You can support local guys from the state of Michigan. Gypsy Vodka. Ask for it by name. And as always, drink responsibly.
Okay, you thirsty little spin goblins. I want you to pedal into the next dimension. Spin it. Spin. Spin. Uh-oh. Carmen's falling behind. Let's give her the hiss of shame. Spin. Spin. Spin till you bleed.
Don't ride the bike of shame. Come to Planet Fitness and find your own lane with tons of equipment, free fitness training, and no hissing. Join today for just $10 a month.
Woodward Sports. Missed part of the show today? Watch again on YouTube or download the podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Off and running here, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Neil Rule, D-Mac, Darren McCarty in the house. You know we got Sawyer, Settlers of Catan, in the house as well. We also have Sam over there in the fishbowl. He's on the ones and twos. And our YouTube chat thread, remember, tap in, get involved anyway. You want to get involved. AC says, Neil, do you get better treatment when traveling with the Pistons? And I don't know about treatment per se. I mean, other than having chefs on the plane, and you don't handle your baggage. You go into your hotel room and you get a knock on the door and they hand you your suitcase and all that stuff. You know, all the little fringe benefits are better. I will say this though, and D-Mac, I'm curious to get your take on this, because I have noticed that the higher you go in basketball, from college all the way up to the NBA, it is more professional, meaning that when I'm with Oakland, we do everything together. Like the meals are together, they're catered together, you go to practice together, shoot-arounds together, go to the game together, go to the airport together. In pro sports, you get to the hotel, you get your per diems, and 20 different people go in 20 different directions, and they're like, hey, here's where the bus leaves to go to the rink tomorrow. Be on this bus.
Yeah, I think more so if you're going to say which sport isn't like that the most, it'd be hockey.
Yeah.
So
you guys have got more of that college.
It's more clicked.
Yeah.
And clicks isn't a bad word, but it's like usually by age. We usually had 3 categories, right? The dash dine movie guys or shenanigans, whatever, which means the guys that wanted to get in, meet downstairs, go eat quick, go see a movie, or go do whatever, go bowling, or do whatever like that. Then there was the wine and dine, the Stevies, the Shannies, the Swedes, the Russian
big contract guys. Okay.
The 3-hour tour, the 2 bottles of wine, the conversations, just no. And then there was the new parents and the gamers. They were the same. They were get to the hotel, up to your room, either log in, you're either sleeping or you're playing online, right? So, and I can speak by experience, and I don't know if this has changed, but you could intermingle within each group. Now, you only get caught going to the wine and dine once if you're me, or Drapes hated that too. So we were usually eating and movie guys. So, but to your point, yes, the higher it gets, the more so off. I know when we're on the road as a hockey team, your game day, so you go to your morning skate, then you have a team meal, right? A buffet style team meal that guys pick on for like a couple hours and stuff like this to go. So, but I'm sure it changes in the different sports. Baseball, when you're there for 2, 3, 4 days, you get into a routine and stuff like that. So basketball, and plus it all depends on cities. I thought you were going to say that the higher you get, the easier it is.
No, well, yeah, that's understood. Yeah,
right.
I would think that's understood. I mean, just for me,
it's not like, "Hello, sir, can I take your bag?" It's wrestling you for your bag and want to fight you for not letting it go, sort of places.
And just for me, like doing the NBA as opposed to college, even as opposed to mid-major college, where I got to walk in and set up equipment and stuff like that. In the NBA, you just walk in, you put the headset on. You do the game, you take the headset off, you drop it, and you go get on the plane and you leave. Like you're done.
That's awesome.
Yeah, oh yeah, dude, it is. It's a lot of fun. But you know what though, you get to that level, and certainly like I've always thought of myself as being at that level. Just like when you were you've always thought of yourself as an NHL player. That's why you keep into it. At the same time, I'm kind of glad that I get to do that, because I feel as though I'm a little bit different than some of the people in this industry. Well, you know what I'm saying?
But
you've dealt with them all.
But here's the whole thing. As long as you're not, but here's the one thing, Neil, is that it doesn't matter, and it's not about setting up the recording equipment. Will you pick up a broom or change the garbage if it needs to? Hell yeah. So you're part of the team. That's the mentality of too bigger than that, and going through that and knowing the tough times is to know what you like or you don't like. And that goes to broadcast, and that goes to setting up. I hate all that stuff. Plug and play. I can barely speak sometimes, so I mean that's hard enough.
Right, but again, as you said though, that when you love doing it,
that's
whatever it takes to be there.
It's a passion, but it's appreciation, and I think more so, right? What you're talking about is self-awareness. You're talking about the journey to go, oh, okay, because sometimes I went through a whole few years where I enjoyed my yard. I love cutting my own grass. I
still do that. Yeah,
do the yard work. Then I got to a point, where I was over it, but it's also too I was over the house. It goes in spurts like that, but it's okay because I think the self-awareness to what it is and being able to do it or not do it.
Yeah, and there is, I think, some, because you and I think, come from pretty similar backgrounds in that, my parents worked in the car factories here.
Yours were on the factories, and I grew up in air-conditioned refrigeration.
So it's essentially the same thing.
I grew up crawling in duct, underneath houses and digging holes.
I think there is something to that, because I think about that a lot before I go on the air, even before I come on this show. Like, Like, this is what I do for a living now. My parents worked in car factories, man. Like, they worked. I just sit here and say I was told. Like that.
I was told to get
Shout
the
out
bag.
to Steve, by the way.
And it's both things can be true.
Both things can be true. Shout out to Steve, who came through the studio today.
Shout out to Steve and his daughter.
Yeah, absolutely. It was very cool. Speaking of audience, and it is the holiday season and stuff like that. And a Big D Energy, we did what a lot of other companies and media outlets did. You do the graphic, right? The holiday graphic, which we put out there. Happy holidays from Big D Energy, and you guys were very much on brand.
I need a new photo.
Yeah,
that's
you guys were very much on brand. Let me see. We had Jay Adams jump in there and say, "Somebody please Photoshop a baby into this picture. Rename it 3 Men and a Little Lady." Different Jay also says, "Why does this look like a 90s sitcom photo?" Which it does. And then T-Bell came at D-Mac a little bit, says, "Why does McCarty basically have a kingpin hairdo? Let it go."
Absolutely.
Bro. You do look like Big Earn, I'm not going to lie.
No, I was trying for the Big Earn back then. We're still rocking, and yeah, that's a big forehead. Like, I need it's so much knowledge, guys. That's what happens.
And then, of course, Tom Mazaway gets piled on. Thank you for keeping Mazaway away from this promotional image. What a mug that dude has. Get rid of your ugly friends.
I had nothing to do with that.
No,
I didn't even, that wasn't even a shot. That was from another ship across port. Maz, poor Maz. Here, you want me to do my Maz for you? Has you just heard that? Maz is pouting as we speak. Yeah, to your point though about where we come from, right? Which is you're thinking before is that no participation trophies.
Yeah, and
right?
we've all overcome being friends with Maz. Like we've taken on that handicap, we've rose above that, and we've kept it going.
You know what? I think we found the root of the issue. Maz is
if you can
rooted in all of us. If you
Maz,
can overcome the Maz,
you can overcome anything.
Oh, George. Oh, George.
AC says, you guys are getting roasted, LOL. You know what? Truth be told, guys, since, it's a holiday week, man, we're going to get into the sports, and I see you guys talking about the Lions' offensive line. Maybe we'll discuss that later. You know what it is, and why I like doing this stuff? I like that stuff more than I like the people that are like, oh, you do a great job. And don't get me wrong, dude, we all like to hear that we're doing well. Everybody, every single person does. I like the people that come on there and cook you, or that come in the chapter and cook you.
Right, and it's all about, like, all that is with fun, love, and intentions, and there's no non-pure intentions and hate in there. Like, there's a difference, too. But you remember, if you do that, you open yourself up because you never know when it might come back to get you. Karma's real, but it's nice to play, right? And it shows that that's a form of compassion. That's locker room mentality.
100%.
Right there's behind the scenes or whatever like that is some of the stuff. You should see some of the stuff we send each other, and but that's the comfort zone and stuff like this, and I like that too. But Sawyer. But we need a new pick. Anyways, we don't have Sawyer, we don't have Sam, we don't have the update. Plus, I'm going to put a hat on next time. That's a big. I should go for the Tyson tattoo right on that forehead. I mean, honestly, land a spaceship on that thing. Those weren't the orb lights in Phoenix. That was D-Mac out in the Sedona.
Tammy Chin says, poor Maz. We love you, Maz. Maz getting a lot of love right now. And it is. It's all love for Maz. There is no doubt about it. We do love Maz. We do. We kid because we love.
We kid because we love.
Matt Carrier says, Rule's about to upset all the viewers that care. I don't understand how. Like, we're chopping it up, man. I mean...
we love them all. Yeah, we love them all. Send the good ones too, and send the bad ones, swarmy runs. Just don't be mean to anybody.
Right.
There's no reason to be
unless
mean.
It's Mass.
Well, exactly. Like, just hard. You have to give them kick the dog, pet the dog, give him a little pet, kick him harder, but give him a little pet on the way out. But because Neil, can we not say this? Maz brings it on himself 99% of the time. Right? Maz has a bad habit, and I'm not the best of it, of talking before thinking. Right?
That's correct.
I think there's just so much going on up there, I can't get it all out sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So be nice. As long as you're nice, but be funny.
Be funny, but be nice.
Be funny, and nice.
Until it's time to not be nice. There you go.
There you go. There it is.
That's
Cut that clip, Sammy boy. We got another one. Woo.
Just be nice until it's time to not be nice. New Year's Eve, we got you covered for the Michigan Orange Bowl pregame show. Braylon Edwards, Stick, and Adam live right here on Woodward Sports from 5:30 to 7:30. Make sure you're watching the official Woodward Sports Michigan-Georgia pregame show. Former Michigan wide receiver Braylon Edwards will share his insight to the game, and we will preview the big matchup in the Orange Bowl New Year's Eve. They're jumping on air 5:30 to 7:30. They got everything covered. And don't worry, we're going to ramp up into this talk, too. We'll be discussing the whole Michigan-Georgia bowl game, Alabama national championship, all of it. Make sure you tap in tomorrow. D-Mac and I will be here, and we'll have that. And then on Thursday, D-Mac steps out, and T-Foss and I will take you into the new year.
That'll be a good one.
You
Don't
feel
miss
me?
that one. I can't wait. Sun Bowl's back on Friday afternoon at 2. Oh, Terry's
Central Michigan stepping up.
Terry's got to be right. Central Michigan, his chips going into the Sun Bowl. Are you sure? You better double check. He might be headed out there. Maybe after the show. Stay tuned Thursday.
Absolutely. When we come back, we'll be joined by Giles Andrew and Elliot Watson, the Onra production company, as they featured Darren McCarty in the Comeback podcast, executively produced by Sylvester Stallone. So we will talk to them, and I'm curious to hear some of the great stories that they'll be featured, including Darren McCarty, our own here on Big D Energy. So we'll have that when we come back a little bit later on in the show as well. Do you want to talk about Mario Lemieux and the Pittsburgh Penguins and what he's got going on? Because he's getting the bag.
Got a bag.
Yeah,
He's gonna get
and
a bag.
we mentioned the Sun Bowl is back on. Central Michigan, because of the COVID problems with Boise State, will slide over to El Paso, and we'll be in there as well. So when we come back, we'll have that discussion and more. You're listening and watching Big D Energy on the Woodward Sports Network.
Thank you, Detroit. Because of your generous donations, this year's Stuff a Studio was a massive success. With the help from our friends at Meyer, Guardian Alarm, and people like you, we were able to send a massive U-Haul filled with toys to Mott Children's Hospital.
I thought it was pretty cool, but more importantly, my daughter had surgery at Mott back in about 2005 for brain surgery. They did a miraculous job for her. As a matter of fact, she's graduated from Michigan State on Saturday. You could never
Hey,
tell
go green, right?
Thank you. And we really want to thank you. I know we're standing in front of this very large building, but when you look up, this building is full right now with a lot of sick kids that are going to be here through the holidays. And this team is amazing to make sure that they can at least smile during the holidays, and what you guys have done for us, we'll make sure that we're bringing that magic into their hospital room. So thank you so much. Thank you.
What's the over-under? Should I tease? Who is the lock of the night? Make sure you're watching Woodward Bets to get the latest in sports betting and more. Woodward Bets daily on Woodward Sports.
Back at it here, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. My name is Neil Rule, alongside four-time Stanley Cup champion D-Mac, Darren McCarty in the house. We got Sawyer and Sam along for the ride as well. We talked about it before we went to the break. A new podcast that is out and in full effect wherever you do get your podcast. The Comeback. Sylvester Stallone, you may have heard of him. He's the executive producer of the Comeback podcast. They did an episode with our own D-Mac, Darren McCarty, an opportunity now to catch up with Giles Andrew and Elliot Watson. Giles Andrew, the founding partner of Onra. Elliot Watson, a filmmaker and partner at Onra as well. They're really the, I guess you could say, boots on the ground as far as the Comeback podcast goes. And guys, I appreciate taking your time here today. And Giles, I guess I'll start with you, and I'm curious to get Elliot's take on this also. Just as you guys do this with the Comeback podcast, and what you guys do is tell stories of people that have been at the top, that have fallen to the bottom, and then have fought their way back up. And Giles, I'll start with you. I bet there's some commonality between all these stories that you tell, because have you guys found it takes kind of a special person to fight their way back?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, but it also just takes everybody, right? I mean, you don't get out of this life without falling down and then having to stumble back up and kind of carry on. So, I mean, I think there's a sort of universality there, which is this is the human experience. You fall, and then you have to get back on your feet, and you have to move forward as best you can. So, I mean, you know, we've got someone like Darren McCarty, obviously, you know, storied NHL player, but we also have a New York City firefighter who got involved in an awful bus accident just before Christmas, you know, 10 years ago. So it's really sort of everybody. It's notable people like Darren, but we also have people who are kind of lesser known people, but have these just terrible stories of whether it's a terrible injury or a businessman losing all of their money with this stupid decision they made. It kind of, you don't get out of this life without kind of stumbling and falling. And obviously the thread behind all of these people is that they got back on their feet and they carried on as best they can.
And Elliot, I'm curious to get your take on that too as well. I mean, just kind of the 30,000 foot, and certainly, you know, the Comeback Podcast and Sylvester Stallone obviously is a name attached to that. But just, you know, what's been your impression as you guys have worked your way through these episodes? And we'll talk about D-Mac's episode in just a couple of seconds. But what's kind of the 30,000 foot view of the Comeback Podcast?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that we wanted to do was is we wanted to cover a large spectrum of stories from people from all walks of life, and really kind of drop into their individual worlds, whether it's big wave surfing, the NHL, pro bull riding, or as Giles said, New York firefighters. And so, but there's a common thread, as you pointed out, which is, I mean, one of the common threads that I found really relevant with all these stories is just perseverance. Is, you know, the will that people dig deep to kind of pick themselves back up and to fight through adversity in all shapes and forms. So that's been one of the most inspiring things, certainly going through, you know, working on this thing through the pandemic. Is why we think these stories are really relevant right now and kind of a perfect antidote to what we're going through at the moment.
Hi, guys. Good to talk to you again, and thank you for doing this. When did we sit down and record my portion of the episode? And can you run the viewers through, you know, the sort of how this sort of comes together and how long it takes to put something like this out, and make sure to let them know where they can catch this on Thursday, right? It's coming out on Thursday.
Yeah,
so
Wednesday, tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Oh,
Wednesday,
perfect.
Tomorrow drops.
Oh, even better. So the process. First, just my question. When did you talk to me? Do you remember?
Oh, God. I think it was maybe
I think it was in the spring.
A year ago?
Okay,
Yeah,
but the
9
spring,
months ago.
so 8 or 9 months. So, you know, and I say this because I want to get people to get the processes, is that when doing something like this and the series, or to get everybody, because it's not just my point of view or asking me questions, it's what can people expect, I guess.
Yeah, well, we obviously interviewed a bunch of your old teammates, you know, one of your oldest friends, Chris Draper.
And don't believe him. He's a lying redhead.
And then we interviewed your current wife. And, you know, we sort of got the people that are nearest and dearest to you, as well as people that can kind of explain what an enforcer is in hockey, and exactly how important the enforcer role was to that Detroit Red Wings team, your role specifically in kind of bringing the Stanley Cup back to Detroit for that first time in 40 odd years or so. So, I mean, we speak to the commentators around the NHL, around the Red Wings, but we also speak to the people that were close to you as well. And then we bring in sound design and music, and we source archival tape from those storied games as well. So it's a lot of different things edited together.
It really feels like a documentary. Sorry to interrupt. It feels like a documentary. I mean, like as Giles said, the archival is very epic. We tell the story of you know, Darren's reign through sort of Red Wings lore of the 90s, and it's a lot of fun. Yeah, it's an action-packed episode for sure.
Darren, Darren, he told us like he was a Red Wings fan growing up in Windsor over the border. He just cut him. He bleeds Red Wings. So it's fun hearing him talking about how he, instead of just like playing the video game, he's sitting next to the people that he was obsessed with growing up, and he's on the same team as them. So it's like, that's really fun. Anyone that's a sports fan can relate to that. So, it's great how, I don't know, down to earth Darren is throughout the whole episode and the interview we had with him.
Giles Andrew, the founding partner of Onra, Elliot Watson, filmmaker and partner at Onra as well, and they're all a part of the Comeback podcast. Sly Stallone is the executive producer, and I guess Elliot, like we know, iTunes and stuff like that. I would imagine this is available pretty much wherever you consume a podcast, and the reason, I think it was great of DMAC to bring that up too. This isn't, the podcast, I guess you would say, not like the fad podcast. You guys are pros at what you do. You guys are a couple of the best in the business at what you do. This is a deep dive. I mean, this is something that's immersive. This is something, the stories that people can relate to. Where can they consume this? Because I know there's a big video element to it too. Where all is it available?
Yeah, so the podcast it's a weekly series. We have 10 episodes for season 1. And it's available wherever you listen to podcasts. Again, it's called The Comeback, executive produced by Sylvester Stallone. You can find it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Podcasts, Stitcher, literally wherever you find your podcast. So it's out there. And Darren's episode drops tomorrow.
I love it. I guess my question is how do you get a guy like Sylvester Stallone and his the introduction's great and stuff like this, but how does he become involved, or how do you get his involvement in a project like this? I mean, to me it makes sense, being Rocky and all that, and obviously not just to what you were saying earlier, is the fact that he lived Rocky. That was him, right? Pretty much. So he understands the comeback, but how was getting him involved in this project?
Well, I mean, as you said, this is him. I mean, this is he lives and breathes this philosophy of the comeback. He sees it as a kind of a way in which we should all approach life. I mean, he lived it in his life, and he's lived it in his work. All his work speaks to that. I mean, I think that quote that in Rocky, it ain't about how hard you can hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. This is in the DNA of Sylvester Stallone. So, I mean, obviously getting to him was the tricky part, but we got it in front of his reps, and they felt confident with the partners that we had to then share it with him. And then we chatted to him, and he responded to it immediately. So...
Yeah. Well, fellas, certainly we do appreciate you guys coming through.
Thanks for getting up early, boys. I appreciate you. And anything we can do here at Woodward Sports Network, Big D Energy moving forward. It was an absolute pleasure to work with you, to talk to you, and you guys love what you're doing, and appreciate you joining us and doing this. I'm excited. And like I said this earlier when I was previewing it. If somebody takes something from this and it hits one person, I think we'll be able to do it. Then the team has done a job. So thanks for, I guess, making me the focal point, but all the hard work you guys put into it.
Thanks for
Absolutely.
sharing
Thanks for coming on board and
us.
trusting us in the story.
Vulnerable.
Yeah.
And
hey,
we'll share some links with you.
Yes, please. I'll tell you this, right? And for anybody out there that knows me, or the caveat is that they talked to Cheryl with an S, my wife now, who doesn't talk to anybody. So the fact that you got her to speak, and I know to get her to sign off on it, not because of what she said, just tracking her down, right? So you guys had a hard enough time like I do. So there you go. So that's why the legitimacy and the vulnerability and everything to where it is, that I guess it's just another layer. And again, thank you for being a part of it.
For sure. Thank you.
Thanks, Darren.
You got it.
Awesome experience.
Yep.
Cheers.
All right. There it
Cheers.
is. Giles Andrew
Thanks, guys.
and Elliot Watson, kind enough to slide through here. Giles Andrew, the founding partner of Onra. Elliot Watson, a very talented filmmaker partner at Onra as well. And I didn't want to like demean them with this comment. Like this isn't the podcast that someone's doing in their closet. These are two of the very best in the industry at what they do. This is Sylvester Stallone.
Right.
This is big time what's going on here.
Here's the thing, right? It's like these look up Honor and look up their filmmaking stuff, and so
they
what
have IMDb
what they did,
pages,
right?
This is real.
What they did, right, is in a different sort of format, is taken the movie and sort of made it the audiobook, and also two of the available on the links and stuff like that. It's sort of
which they
the
will get
evolution.
to, and everyone can follow you on your social media pages, and certainly I'll be happy. The Big D Energy, everybody else will get it out there as well. Episode dropping tomorrow. There's a lot of people asking in the YouTube chat thread, and it's D-Mac and I have done that before on a show where we've kind of taken a deeper dive, and D-Mac is very open and honest, and it's one of the things that it's one of the things for me that I enjoy being friends with Darren McCarty is accountability, right? Like that's something that you've always talked about, and it's not the easiest story to tell, but I've told you this from day one, from the first day I met you through the 8+ years we've known each other, that's the biggest compliment. Not the games you won, not the Stanley Cups you won, none of that stuff, man. It's how you are when you're at your lowest that tells you the story of who you are. And like you tell it very well, and you're willing to tell it. Nobody else is, man. Everybody always wants to see the shine all the time, man.
You know what?
Tell it well.
Here's not to get too philosophical or whatever it is, but the rub is that look at my stats, look at my resume. If you don't think that somebody greater than me has some sort of plan, and it's just sort of to be, and I didn't have to know it, and all you have to know, right, is that, like you said. So my transparency of being who I was, and then learning, right, is always be true to yourself, right? And even though you can't look in the mirror at some points, you'll get there. And so to your point, Neil, is that I haven't changed who I was. I just learned who I was. I knew who D-Mac was when he was 6. I didn't know Darren McCarty till he was 46. But you know what, who did what D-Mac knew, right? And he loved, and you can get into it too. Yes, start a new career in an industry that is always essential, the heating and cooling industry. Learn more today by visiting northwesterntech.edu. And as Tammy said, Neil, I'm interested to see what Mrs. McCarty has to say in that documentary. Anyways, Big D Energy, big day. Neil Rule, Darren McCarty. We'll be right back.
Fellas, football season is here. It's time to make your grooming experience easy like Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Our sports. We just wish they'd love us back. Detroit sports for Detroit sports fans. Woodward Sports.
Back at it, your Big D Energy Woodward Sports Network. My name is Neil Rule. He's D-Mac, Darren McCarty. Make sure you subscribe to the Comeback Podcast. Anywhere you get your podcast, the Darren McCarty episode is dropping tomorrow. And you know what? I didn't have this set up. This isn't on the show sheet that we sit there and talk about and stuff like that. But I do think it's relevant. Number one, are we promoting D-Mac's appearance on the Comeback Podcast? Yeah, we are to some degree. But I think even more than that, I've had this discussion with D-Mac before, both on air, both off air. When we were together at a previous radio life, we were together.
Please phrase it like you did to me during the break for the fans.
but you know what though, and I think that, and based on your guys' comments on here as well, like Rob J, D-Mac's a champion, and for me, and last night was an example. I think when we talked about it at length when we were at Red Wings opening night. Go to any Red Wings game that D-Mac is at. I mean, he is.
Come on down.
He's a people's champion. There is no question about that. But I've always said this to you, man. The reason that you're the people's champion is because you have real people stories, right? Where you talk about having it all, going through some dark times, and then kind of fighting your way back. And you laugh about it when I bring it up, but to me, I'm always curious about this because when you're at the bottom and the newspapers are coming out with the stories and stuff like that, and I was always amazed by this. They listed your cable bill, like what you owed the cable company in the newspaper. You know what I'm saying? Did you learn a lot through that though, man? And I'm not asking like give away what's on the podcast or anything like that. I'm talking about like normal people conversation. It's one of the things I respect about you. Through that time, did you learn a lot about people that were probably on your side when you were scoring goals and winning cups and going to the bars and hanging out with the people and stuff like that? I gotta imagine you learned a lot about the nature of people, not people specifically, just the nature of people.
I'm gonna give you my truth, okay? My truth. For everything else that you try to learn about everyone else or how to deal with who, whatever, until you can look in the mirror and know who you are, at the end of the day, don't lie to that person. You're bad, you're down. Until you can develop that respect and relationship with that person, you can't learn anything. You can hear it, think it, whatever, but it doesn't process.
You're just kicking the
right?
can
You're
down the
kicking
road.
it around, and then you're adding in different things. Here's the thing: it's accountability. That's the thing that I've always had. When it comes to I was grateful enough and smart enough to protect enough of the things. And when I say that, it comes down to my kids, right? And my kids and my ex and whatever like that. Like, because I started with nothing. I know I can survive with nothing. So I always pictured, we're the grind line, right? I always pictured, I'd come off work at 12 on the line and go put my skates on and go, like, that's my mentality of being there. But the learning yourself aspect of looking in the mirror is what is important, right? And the money and the dollar and I guess to the ego, right, or whatever it is, it doesn't matter. And when you're at the lowest of your lows or whatever like this, to figure out, when things are great and you're winning and all that, on the ups, I mean, everything's great. It's when it's not who's around and who's there. And at the end of the day, this is what you will learn. I mean, if you've read my book, My Last Fight, True Story of a Hockey Rock Star, or whatever, in chapter 17, you will learn tomorrow that you cannot do it for anybody else. You can do it, like I say, because of the love that a woman showed me, that I deserve to love myself. Wasn't love her. I mean, if it was to do it for somebody else, I would have done it for any of my kids, or even Pat. It's that appreciation for somebody else, right? You can't. But it was that to deserve to get back up. And I mean, I still remember. I remember vividly, just because here's the thing, Neil. I've proven, and I will continue to prove, that I can manifest my reality, right? As we're sitting here with 4 cups, falling down, up, down, whatever like this, right? Having the Darren McCarty brand now that I'm about to launch something in the CBN, and what that is going to help people with their sleep, that I am confident on, would change their life, coming from an insomniac. I look at the purpose differently, but I couldn't get there until I could love myself. Good, bad, right, wrong, or indifferent, and then every day it's try to be better. So at the end of the day, it's all the lessons that I learned, because I don't not learn stuff when I go. I'm a sponge. I'm a hoarder. I'm a sponge. Pick things up real quick. It's just whether I use it or not. Now I just know what I don't want more than it is that I'm out there, chasing the dream, or whatever the dream is. The destination's an oasis. It's all about the journey. It's a train. I look at it like it's a train ride. Do you like the train you're on? You're eating, you're sleeping compartments, your work compartment. Do you like that? Then you're on the right train around people doing the same thing. So you have to look in the mirror and love yourself. And that's what you're going to learn. And I'd be dead if it wasn't for the love of my wife, who was my best friend because she's the one that believed that I deserve to love myself. And that's where it is. And at the end of the day, if you can get there, there's a way out. And sometimes, because you're not going to love yourself, and it's the love of other people around you that you have to embrace until you can get there, because it took me a long, long time.
Did you find yourself kind of being Darren McCarty, the character?
Oh, dude, I knew
I'm talking about like in the Valley. But was that what kept you going? Was Darren McCarty the character? In a weird way, I would imagine. I imagine it helped and it held you back at the same time.
At different times,
yeah.
It's balance. It's when to be that and when not to, and when. Here it is. It's having to know what you want instead of what maybe everybody else wants for you.
Sure.
You know, that's in knowing yourself and all this stuff. I mean, I've told you many times, a lot of the dumb decisions or not decisions, like great stories that I have is because why? Well, I grew up in Leamington, Ontario, right across the border, and my guys were farmers and workers and, you know, worked at Heinz and did all this stuff. If I didn't come home with it, I'm 21 years old playing in the league, so if I don't have a story, I mean, I'm letting my guys down. You get older, you learn. So, I mean, it's understanding when to be D-Mac, when to be Darren, and at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It all starts with looking in the mirror and being true to that person. Some days will be better than others. It's just trying to be better, and it's who you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
Right? And it's who you surround yourself with. One of the things that I was told that is the 5 people you spend the most time around, you will resemble all those personalities.
Which is true. I mean, when you start putting it all back together.
So that's why I spend my time alone with all 5 personalities.
No, but, you know, again, Darren McCarty will be featured in the episodes dropping tomorrow on the Comeback Podcast. Get him wherever you get your podcast. We just talked to the producers of it. Sylvester Stallone is the executive producer of the Comeback Podcast. They talk to people from all different walks of life. It's not just athletes or anything like that. And I guess, you know, kind of that's the long way of asking the question, because you and I do laugh about it when you were going through your troubles. And I don't know what it is about the cable bill being in the newspaper that kind of sticks with me, because we've all owed the cable company money. It's like when they
shoot the dog,
yeah.
Right? Like kill the whole family, you know, everything, and then they shoot the dog. Why you shoot the dog, right? That's really the cable bill.
The cable bill,
right?
which I know, but that was. But here's why though, D-Mac. Here's why it stuck with me, because that was the day, and for me that was kind of like the beginning of my sports media career and stuff like that. And I was just learning about athletes and learning how to talk to them, because I think when you do this job that I do, that you do, that we do, you can't. It's important to have it rooted from the fans' perspective, but you can't speak to them like fans. You have to speak to them like a professional that commands your own respect. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You have to do it that way. But I guess the long way of what I'm trying to ask you is that was the day for me when I saw how much you owed the cable company in the paper, where I said, wow, we truly do build them up to tear them down, man.
Yeah.
We do, because the same people that loved the clicks from the stories they wrote about you were the same people that wrote that story. And I'm not saying they're wrong for doing it.
No, they're doing their job or whatever, but you got to understand the game.
But you are built up to be torn down.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You understand that's the game. So you can't. You're built up to be torn down if you allow, right? If you allow, but you can put up fire retardant walls and stuff. Usually that comes with age and knowledge. That's the whole thing, Neil, right? Uncle D-Mac, right? And that's the fine line. I was just going to say, to what your point, you have to find what your niche is to find your style. It's find your voice, find your questions. Every reporter has it. It's building that relationship. That's I forgot what I was going to say.
Hey, that's all right.
But that's it's your voice, and sometimes I forget that, because, like you said, like today with Craig, it's like when I was asking him that question, I forgot that he looks at me as a media guy, not as an athlete. So, yeah, don't look at me like that.
You do have to remember. Snoil OG says a comeback. Can't wait to listen. So, again, this guy tells that story, and I'm telling you guys this, as real as somebody that has worked with D-Mac, the player, D-Mac the media guy, D-Mac the friend, the whole thing. To this day, he's the only dude, at least that I've dealt with in my life, that will be open about that. And I can say to him, hey, the cable company listed how much you owed him in the newspaper, but he'll talk about it. Nobody talks about it. And look, I know it's a cliche thing. We're obsessed with the highlight reel. Social media is life's highlight reel that we put on there. I do it. You do it. Everybody does it. But at the same time, and somebody on our YouTube chat thread said, I think it's Don Burr said, everyone's got a past, and certainly they do. This is a funny one, and again, I can only ask this because it's you, D-Mac. Robert says, D-Mac, I'm sure you still owe Blockbuster Video also. Was there any Blockbuster Video on that?
Yeah, there probably was.
We've all owed Blockbuster Video at some point.
They can't get me now, can they? 2006, I'm safe, right?
But that's what's real about it, though, man. And Tony,
that was set up. Blockbuster set you up for failure.
%.
Seriously, I didn't get out of the car in the rain to put it in that little slot. You got to come out to the car next time.
Yeah, absolutely. Tony Pasta asked real quick before we go to the break, how long you been sober, D-Mac? What's the clock on
11/11/15, so 6 years and a month and something.
Yeah, which is crazy because that's about the date that you and I did our last show together. You know?
Yeah.
And I remember.
Yeah.
Don't think I didn't know. I mean, everybody knew.
Everybody,
but the most important thing was finally you knew.
Right. Well, I knew all along. It was just getting, and that's where I say, if you want to talk about, and here, don't tell Maz, okay? Even though he knows, because Maz has always been that friend. And it was one of those things, not to tell me anything like that, but just to be, sometimes just to be around and to know that people still, you know what I mean, doing that stuff with you guys and stuff like this. It had to have helped. It had to have helped to the whole thing about you believe that you deserve to love yourself enough, and everybody out there, I'm telling you do.
Yeah, absolutely. But I did, that was off the cuff right there. It was just something where it's a good story. He tells the story well, and he's open about it. And again, the people on here, that's why I like our audience, man. You guys are real. People jumping out of the woodwork. I owe Blockbuster too. There you go.
We live life.
In the end, it's simple.
Dude, you went off cuff there. I'm not gonna go off cuff. I'm gonna go off Clippers. What? Yeah, guys, we like things uncomplicated. Lady Jane's haircuts for men. You walk in, you sign in, you sit down, and before you know it, you're sitting in front of this mirror, and this mirror has a TV, and you can watch anything you want, usually sports, football, whatever else you can, and you can get a great haircut. Next thing you know, you're handsome and clean. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week, walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome. He's the Golden Rule. I'm D-Mac. We're Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Rawr! See you in a few.
Hi, I'm Kay Cunningham. I'm proud to partner with Hall Financial, the mortgage company known for 5-star service. Don't just take my word for it. Check out their 5,000 5-star reviews for yourself. Go to callhallfirst.com and get started with your 5-star experience today.
Opinions are like ear holes, and we're putting ours in yours.
Well, that's not winning, Joy.
It's Woodward Sports.
Man, coming down the stretch of the show already. It's unbelievable. But it is Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Neil Rule, D-Mac, Darren McCarty, Joik Bell was with us earlier. Big thank you to Craig Reynolds for popping on the show. Also, Giles Andrew, Elliot Watson of Onra. D-Mac's episode of the Comeback Podcast, executively produced by Sylvester Stallone, will drop tomorrow. Lots of people excited for that. I just wanted to give you guys like a little taste, and Darren McCarty is like that. AC, why would they post a cable bill? Which newspaper? AC, it was all of them. And look, you guys know how this works, right? Like it becomes a public. The hearing is public, so the details of the hearing are public, so they can be posted. And here he is, though, man. Came out the other side. Yep, came out the other side, and I think we found that.
Oh, somebody else now.
Well, we all owe Blockbuster at some point. I think, and if it were me, again, if you want to shed a light on my life, Columbia House is probably Columbia House is in line somewhere. The 16-year-old Neil Rule that fortified his CD collection
Didn't they
Columbia
have it in
House
the
is-
contract that you had to sign any kids you had too? So like your kids and your kids are on the hook for.
And I know some of you, and I know Sawyer. Look, I know I told you we had a topic we're going to get on, but trust me, I know these people out here, and I know how this is going to go. We're going to talk about this until 1 o'clock, I'm sure. This was sometimes where it's in the process of you're too smart for your own good. Once I took my first business class in high school and learned about contracts and minor signing contracts and things like that, took it right to Columbia House and loaded up on the CDs. Hey, I'm a POS like that, I guess, man. Like I did it. Hey, it's one of those things. I was a kid that wasn't of good character to do. Certainly, I would not like my children to do that, but I did it, and I'm sorry, Columbia House. I'm sorry. Are they still around? Is Columbia House still with us? I doubt it. I would doubt it, right? I'm sure Columbia Records are, but like Columbia House, like the CD thing.
I do not believe that they would be.
Juice's Ghost, Columbia House, and BMG could put me in jail if they were still around. Robert says 8 cassettes for a penny. Just kidding. I got CDs too. Here we go. Tammy Chin, Columbia House. Use many names and P.O. boxes. Here we go. Rack. Oh, man. Good call, Neil. I probably owe Columbia House a ton of money. I used to send the free CDs under a new name to my house so many times. Tammy, Neil, we are showing our age. Justin Hamlin, F Columbia House. I stole hundreds of CDs. I knew it. I
love it. See how hey, that's my fault, and I'll take full responsibility for that.
Absolutely.
Right there. Let's take it off the rails. I said it's between Christmas and New Year's. I mean, more sports are going to be there. I mean, hockey hasn't been on. Tune in the World Juniors.
Speaking of hockey, by the way, there has been a story that's broken, and it's something that I did want to talk about. The Pittsburgh Penguins were recently sold, and they were acquired by Fenway Sports Group for about $900 million. They own Liverpool, the Red Sox. I mean, they're a mega conglomerate that is just
word of the day,
swooping up teams.
Conglomerate.
They're a mega conglomerate that's just acquiring teams after teams after teams. So what's interesting about it is they bought the Pittsburgh Penguins from Mario Lemieux, who was a big-time owner, owned a big portion of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Mario Lemieux is going to cash out about $350 million. And D-Mac was playing at this time when, for those that don't remember, the Pittsburgh Penguins drafted Mario Lemieux. I contend if it weren't for injury, and I know that it's blasphemy, I'm of the opinion that if he were healthy, non-Hodgkins, if he played his whole career, that it would have been Wayne Gretzky numbers.
Listen, I'll tell you
You played against him. You told me.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. Probably he was 6'6", huge, and so smooth. And it didn't look like he was moving at all. And he'd just be by guy. But the size and the smoothness and the effortless, I think, no, Neil, you're 100% correct. If he played the number of games back in that era that he did, I think, like with that, the game sped up and stuff like this, and he was big, but smooth. They call him Ace. That's his nickname, Ace, because there's no one better.
Right, absolutely. But the moral of the story is, in 1999, the Penguins were in some financial trouble. And they still owe Mario Lemieux $20 million, as a matter of fact, as part of his contract. And Lemieux, instead of chasing down the Penguins ownership in court, said, hey, I'll come up with an idea. I'll buy the team with part of an investor group, use my $20 million as credit towards paying for the franchise. So they bought the Pittsburgh Penguins. Mario Lemieux used that money as equity, and now they're selling, as we talked about, for $900 million. So the Pittsburgh Penguins, a small market team, which they are. They got big market results, obviously, with Crosby and Lemieux and Yager and all the cups and all that stuff. Yeah. But in the global sports stratosphere, a small player. Is that fair? That's fair.
Well, they don't have a basketball team, right?
Yeah.
They don't have a basketball team, so they're not a four. But yeah,
dollar for dollar.
But right, no, for sure, dollar. For sure. Yeah. Right. Guess what? If I had negotiated that, you wouldn't be seeing my cable bill. But what does that go to show you as far as, and it'd be interesting to talk to Mario Lemieux about this, is this, was this a long-term play? Because this sounds like this was the long-term investment. So his $20 million turned into $350.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it was supposed to do. I guess to see it in real numbers, right? When you say that, oh yeah, we've known for a long time, since back then he was partial owner, then the investment group and this and that, he has percentage, and it doesn't seem like reality until you see the numbers and what he's going to make. So that's a pretty good career.
Pretty good ROI, as they say. Yeah, career certainly as well. One of the best. Again, I contend may have been the best to ever do it, but availability is part of it.
If Pittsburgh Penguins are worth $900 million, what are the Red Wings worth?
Which is a great question. They've got to be well,
$1.5 billion.
I would say now, because now you factor in the payrolls too, right? And lack of a payroll,
the facility,
the obligations, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I would say
maybe.
Plus the turn to ESPN now, the league will have more of a relevant tone, which I know everybody is less than enamored with the ESPN Plus broadcast for various reasons. I'll just say it like that.
Listen, I'm not going to speak on behalf of you, but I'm going to step out of line a little bit and going to say this statement. Neil Rule and I, yeah, we need a bag. We don't need that big of a bag. $350. That's
not
way too much. We are not there, and we appreciate it. But you know what? We crack it open. Just saying.
Jay, holler at my representation. I have it listed on social media, so give him a holler.
Dude, would you say this? Because I just read it, and I'll go with it. Gretzky was Nirvana, and Lemieux would be Pearl Jam. I'd go the other way around.
Yeah, that's kind of a great... I didn't think that is kind of a great analogy. No, it was, though. I was a big
things can
Mario.
be true.
Both things can be true. And I was a big Yager guy, too. You know me. I love the Europeans. I was the anti-Don Cherry. Love the Europeans. Love the Russians. Just the skill that they played with.
Absolutely.
I'm a big skill guy.
So were you on, and I know that, the retired 91, you've always been a Sergei Rusty, stuff like this, but... When Don Cherry when we couldn't get over the edge, when we lost Colorado, did you ever have a young Neil Rule doubt in your mind that what Don Cherry said about the Russians was true, that they couldn't, they weren't tough enough or play North? Like, was there a part of you until we won? Did you doubt as a fan?
No, you're always gonna have that doubt. I mean. Again, Sergei was my favorite hockey player of all time.
Not because what Don Cherry...
Look, and here's the thing, and I'll come full circle, and I'm going to get killed for saying this, and that's fine.
It is.
I can deal with it. I can handle it. I'm a big boy. My check's going to clear regardless. So here's the deal, D-Mac. I get it, and it had a place in the game in your time, and it was a valuable place in the game in your time. But they do keep score by how many pucks go into the net. They do. And that's something where I could never get past it. I always like the goal scorers, the Burres, the McGillneys, the Fedorov, those types of things, because I like the skill. Not to say what you did wasn't valuable. Then following up, what made Sergei Fedorov great, to me, one of the greatest of all time, was how good of a defensive player he was, too. He could lock down the other team's best forward. He won the Selke.
Right.
Period.
No, my question, not the talent. It was never about the talent. No. But I wonder if in your anti-Don Cherry dumb, because he'd be on and then he'd be off, did you not think that, man, these guys, the skill was there, but can they get over the hump? Are they tough enough? Did you ever have that question, were they tough enough?
No, because I never...
Because you had Vladdy. And then he'd out there annihilating guys.
Well, yeah, I mean, and because that was the one I always pointed to all the time. Like, Grapes, he's Russian. Like, he's from Russia. That makes him Russian. I mean, and he's a pretty tough player. Ask everybody who's on there. But it was the thing where the depth of the roster. Everyone talks about the Hall of Famers and stuff like that. And as I said, Sergei Fedorov is my favorite player of all time. But here's where I knew the Wings were going to be fine. When your worst offensive line had a guy that scored 50-plus goals in the OHL, then you'll be all right. That's why you guys won. I mean, obviously, the Yzermans, the
two
Isermans
of them
and
on that line.
Yeah, right. And that's the point. Like, it was an embarrassment of riches all the way around, but that was the European scouting set that free, I thought. Set that whole franchise free.
Absolutely. Hawk and Anderson and what they've done and being able to poach in new markets. You go to the Russian 5, you go to see through even, the way that it was done, even drafting Vladdy, drafting Sergey, having it come over, then getting Pavel and stuff like that. Well, the same thing's going now. It's the same thing. Hashtag Wiser plan. Why? Here's the thing. Now he's just in Germany a little bit, right? They'll still get their guys out of Sweden and they'll find it. It's just that their first... they're like the frontiersmen, first to the new territory. So it'll be interesting to see what they have next.
Yeah, Daniel Gray, Konstantinov's jersey, the only hockey jersey I ever bought. 6 hours later, he was in that crash, so I never bought another hockey jersey again. I mean, the European scouting is what set the Red Wings free. So we will take a break. When we come back, we're coming down the stretch here. It is Big D Energy on the Woodward Sports Network.
Okay, you thirsty little spin goblins. I want you to pedal into the next dimension. Spin it! Spin! Spin! Uh-oh! Carmen's falling behind. Let's give her the hiss of shame. Spin! Spin! Spin till you bleed!
Don't ride the bike of shame. Come to Planet Fitness and find your own lane with tons of equipment, free fitness training, and no hissing. Join today for just $10 a month.
No off-season for us. We're talking sports. 365. Detroit Sports Network. Woodward Sports.
And down the stretch we come. Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Neil Rule, D-Mac, Darren McCarty in the house. We got our guy Sawyer, who's been able to put down the Settlers of Catan for just long enough to produce the show. Sam is over there mixing and scratching the sounds as well. Happy to have you all with us. YouTube chat thread is hot and heavy, as it always is. If you're over there watching right now, too, do us a favor. Go ahead, click that like button as well. And remember, you can follow Woodward Sports Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok. Lots of clicks on TikTok, man. It is absolutely banging. Facebook, Twitch as well. And we got our podcast as well, our humble podcast. It's not quite the comeback produced by Sylvester Stallone featuring Darren McCarty that drops tomorrow, but it does feature Darren McCarty nonetheless. Big D Energy on the iTunes page. Click subscribe. Latest episode goes right to your phone. And don't forget, too, happy if you're listening on radio 93.5 The Roar, Detroit's all-new sports station. So, based on what you guys have said on social media, on our YouTube chat thread, this town's looking for maybe another avenue to consume their sport. So, boom, there you go, 93.5 The Roar. Tap in, as my friend Joik Bell would like to say. He'll be back after the holiday break. But this is something where, and D-Mac, you were down at Raw last night, as was I, and we mentioned the fact show was packed. Like everybody's, I would imagine it was a big holiday gift thing. That certainly was a thing with my kids and stuff like that. Family holiday gift thing. I couldn't help but notice, though, we went out to eat downtown beforehand. I couldn't help but notice you started to get the COVID feeling again. Like you're mindful of who's next to you. You're mindful how far away you are. You're mindful of that, the hand sanitizing and stuff like that. I'm not saying it's like living in fear or anything like that. I just feel like you're more mindful of it. And we've had those discussions with this show, the NFL, the NHL, everything that's going on. The NFL dropped a new COVID policy, I guess you could say. And some people are saying, is the NFL putting the end of the season, making sure that they finish the end of the season above player safety? And that's one of the questions where, D-Mac, it goes back to what we discussed, where the NFL is doing it now. They're cutting the quarantine time from 10 days to 5. I think everyone's making their decision without making their decision right now. And the NFL, I think, has been the trendsetter. For those of you watching on our YouTube channel right now, you see the tweet that we have on the screen. The NFL has officially, I think, D-Mac, become the trendsetter to say, we're pushing forward, man.
Well, they should be. They're the empire, right? They're the big dog, and they lead by example. But it's also, too, right? You said a good word, mindful. right? And mindful is aware and staying ahead, because none of us want to go back to the way that the worst that it was. We understand. What do you always preach here? Is like, give us the answers or some transparency,
Right.
what's going on. You always look to the one with the most money. That's the NFL. They're going to lead the way. And if they're going this way. Now, in saying that, right, things have changed with this Omicron variants, right? As far as the education's changed, the vaccine, and it's about, you know, the hospitalization, the deaths gone down. So I guess the information coming in has changed the output. So to me, the fact that the NFL is doing that now, follow the dollar, of course, right? Playoffs are coming up, right? Making it easier, but it's also too, they have to have more information, and they're leading the way. So hopefully this is something. My big thing is Friday, right? My big thing is Friday. Friday,
that's everybody's big thing.
The big thing is Friday. So it's cool, the NFL. It makes me feel better if the NFL is plowing through. This is what they tell you. They're plowing through. They're making adjustments to it. I mean, go to basketball last night. Celtics game. I don't know where they play. 18 guys. 18! There's only 15 on each team.
Right.
So the fact that I don't want to see this in the playoffs, and hopefully they've thought about this as far as this is the NFL and other teams, and hopefully we'll have more answers. Hopefully we get through this first bowl game, right? Friday's the most important because you got 2 games, right? 2 national championship eligible games. Now, if you get through that, you can postpone the other one until every team's healthy and stuff like that, if you wanted to. Getting through this Friday is the biggest thing, so keep your fingers crossed.
Yeah, and I think you're seeing a response to this, because I know how I felt through the bowl season. And you guys know I'm a bowl slappy. I love them. I was nobody in America, and like people will say stuff for effect. I think I'm pretty sure that this is 100% accurate. Nobody in America was more crushed the Hawaii Bowl was canceled than me. I've told you, I've described you guys many times, it's the fabric of what I do Christmas Eve when I'm putting together that doll school playhouse for my daughter, that you get an hour in and then you find the bottom bracket on the floor is cracked and it's not going to work, and you just lost an hour of your time.
The signs are there.
There was no more of a lie. If I could have got on mybookie.ag and doubled my first deposit, I would put it all on something's going to be broke in this big dollhouse with all these little parts and everything. I would have put all my money
and the
on
Hawaii
that.
Bowl too.
And the Hawaii Bowl.
You know, like I think people are missing the point. That specific bowl, from the guy that gives you the lock of the
the
week,
get right,
the get right
Mountain West
special, Mountain West. The guy who's put more time in. If he brings up a guy out of the Mountain West, you best believe he knows his stats.
Yeah.
It's just like me bringing up deathmatch wrestlers.
So we all got our things.
We got our things.
No, but I guess what I'm saying is the bowl season has been less than for me. And I've found myself, my viewership of the bowl games at an all-time low. And it's a cocktail to it. It's the guys that have opted out. It's the COVID situation. It's the value that's been placed on them. And it's spilled into the NBA. I'm watching no NBA with G League rosters right now. I'm just not doing it. And this is an NBA guy. Like I at times I do work for an NBA team. You know, if I got the call and had to be into it, I would be into it.
Yeah, your first question is where we stand.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but it's just where I like what the NFL is doing, and I still stand by what I said before, where if you're a positive, why are we testing people that don't have symptoms? Like why are vaccinated people that don't have symptoms? Like why are we doing it, DMAC? And I know why we're doing it. You know why we're doing it. It's just they're cutting that time in half now. Let's just get back to normal here. As far as the games, I'm not saying like in your regular work job or my regular work job, and I think it's AC that said it here. We talk about player safety, but what about staff safety? The cook, the cleaners, everybody at the facilities. And you're 1,000% right. You are. But this is a classic example of both things can be true, because this is big-time money, which follow the money. Number one, that's what I'm saying right now is we need to either stop the games or we got to push through, and I don't think stopping the games is what we want.
Well, to your point about watching G-League basketball players playing NBA games, they're plowing through. I mean, they're following along. It looks like the NFL has kept it going. The NHL took time off. Obviously, the Wings get back in action tomorrow, and the NHL is going back in. They backed out of the Olympics, so they gave themselves 3 weeks to be able to catch games up. But it seems to me, Neil, that they are. And here's the thing. We heard Steve Yzerman come out with questions towards the league. We've heard other general managers and other coaches question just answers, right? Just ask questions. So I think enough has gone on that they're going to find it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Cody Engel in our YouTube chat thread. How did the college football playoff not have a COVID delay planned for the season? Because they're doing their hardline talk that we always see. They're saying, "Oh, you will forfeit." There's no way in hell that one of these teams is forfeiting the college football playoff. There's no way they're not going to play the game. That works for the Hawaii Bowl. It works for the Arizona Bowl. I'm telling you guys, mark my words, it will not happen. If too many people are positive, guess what they'll do? They'll just wait. That's the way it'll be.
Why wouldn't they wait? And you know what? If they are waiting, you know who is waiting with them to make sure that they're secure? Guardian Alarm. Because Guardian Alarm gets a good defense on and off the field, helps you feel secure. Guardian Alarm has state-of-the-art technology. Helps you feel safe, all with 24/7 local monitoring. Guardian Alarm has all the convenient features that let you check in on your home, control lights, temperatures, detect smoke, and even that deadly silent killer, carbon monoxide. So if you want to get with the Big D Energy Family Woodward Sports Network, you could call 1-800
Stay out.
That's 1-800
Stay out.
Everybody, for the guys, girls, in the back, in the coffee, tell them where they can go. 1-800
Stay out. Get out of my house.
Get out of Sam's house. Stay out of Sawyer's pantry up in Fenton. And don't go near the Bourbon and Neil's house. That's Guardian Alarm,
Stay
your
out.
local security experts. Big the Energy, Neil Roll, Darren McCarty, Woodward Sports Network.
I'm Kay Cunningham. Working with Hall Financial to purchase my first home was easier than I could have ever imagined. They treated me like family from start to finish. Find out for yourself at callhallfirst.com.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We are recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand.
Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10.5 months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
Hire a graduate
of Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Listen Monday through Friday for Big D Energy Live on the Woodward Sports Network with Stanley Cup champ Darren McCarty, former Lion Joik Bell, and the silky voice of Neil Rule.
The smoke.
Back at you, coming down the stretch here. Final segment of the show, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Neil Rule, D-Mac, Darren McCarty in the house, Sawyer and Sam. Also, Patty Grimes, YouTube chat thread. Neil, how much you owe the cable company? LOL. I cut the cord. I squared up with them and I cut the cord. However, I do owe Columbia House. It's over $100.
Whoa.
I know that.
They
And that's been
coming.
going on now for 30 years, so I imagine with interest.
Whew. It's like 10,000.
25, about 25 years. So with their crazy gorilla math, as I said in Rounders,
Yeah, that crazy gorilla math.
They said the tab's been running the entire time. But we mentioned earlier, D-Mac and I were out at Raw last night, and chopping it up. D-Mac sitting ringside. I was up in the club having the bourbon and stuff like that. Very on brand. Very on brand for both of us.
Yes, it was.
Braylon Edwards, bottom line, 2-4 here today. They were Braylon was out there as well. But yesterday they had, and again, this is kind of relevant. You don't have to know wrestling to follow along with this one. The Street Profits, who are a very popular tag team.
We want
lots of
smoke.
fun. Yeah, high flying, very entertaining, all
Red
that
Solo
stuff.
Cups.
they had them wrestle Rey Mysterio and his son. And Rey Mysterio, if those of you that don't watch wrestling now but maybe watched it back in the day, Rey Mysterio's pretty much become the SD Jones of this time frame, where when you want your stars to wrestle someone with a name, but you can just plug them in at any time and it doesn't have to go necessarily to a storyline. And Rey Mysterio's a name, but his time is kind of past right now. He's still a lot of fun to watch, very entertaining. But the second I saw the Street Profits come out to wrestle Rey Mysterio and his son, I knew how that one, like, the Street Profits are going to get over.
To Rey and his son Dominic's defense, they had relinquished the belts to RK Bro right here, and they were the first father-son to win the tag team belt. So technically, they were fighting in the RK Bro elimination to see who would wrestle Randy Orton. But I knew. Now to the effect that it's sort of like the person that came to my mind, right? That has been there, because you mentioned Rey Mysterio. He's like the original, one of the original luchadors. He's been around almost 30 years, right? Through every promotion. He's had titles. He's held titles, stuff. The guy that came to mind like that, Drew Brees. Drew Brees, just sort of like, as it's coming down to, you're going to throw the game on when like New Orleans was playing and
they're going to lose that playoff game at home. They just are.
But you're going to throw that, but you're going to throw the game on. If it's your Thursday night game, right, and it's him, you're going to throw it on because he's watchable. You're going to find out how he's going to pick apart somebody, but
in the end, they're going to lose, especially coming down the stretch there. They're going to be a 9-point favorite at home, and they're going to find a way to lose. And mine was along the line, like, who's your Rey Mysterio in sports? Because for me, it's very quickly, Kyler Murray's becoming a Rey Mysterio right now.
But he hasn't been there.
Dude, Sawyer's nodding his head right now. No, he hasn't been there, but he's a name brand. I think that's fair to say.
So is Kirk Cousins?
See, I don't think that Kirk Cousins has ever been viewed like Kyler Murray has.
He couldn't get. He's NXT.
Bingo. You know, he's like a career grappler and stuff like that. But Sawyer, that one, you raised your eyebrows at that. Kyler Murray's becoming the Rey Mysterio of sports. Like, when it's going to be a big game when he's in it, but in the end, he's going to lose.
Yeah, I agree with that. What about Phillip Rivers popped in my head as one of those types? Because he was always like going up against the Colts in the playoffs.
So would Dan Marino be the ultimate in football? Is it because of the bridesmaid, because you always expect them, or is it somebody that sort of has got there, but did you expect him to win? Because you trust me, the hardest thing is when you get there early on in your career and then you don't get back. You may never get back. He never got back.
Yeah. So I mean,
with the weapons he had, I don't know.
Yeah, certainly you could say that. What else you got, Sawyer?
I was going to say, this pains me to say, but couldn't you almost kind of throw Peyton Manning in that? Because he went there, he won his belt. He's got 2 of them, but he struggled to get back. But then he ultimately made it back, I guess, in the end.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
He had a Rey Mysterio phase, maybe.
He did have a Rey, like the playoffs were his Rey Mysterio phase. But in the end, he got that second one. Mm-hmm. And as somebody in our YouTube chat thread said, that Denver defense kind of dragged his body across the goal line, which which is fair.
No blasphemy of
Still got the ring, though.
Blasphemy of the Peyton on this show.
No blasphemy of the sheriff at all.
No, absolutely. You and I'm going to wear my. Maybe I'll wear it in tomorrow.
Yeah, Stephen Baffy says it's because Kyler Murray keeps getting hurt, so he's not the same player at the end of the season he is at the beginning. But I mean, you're taking that on right now. I think if you're Kyler Murray, you are like that Rey Mysterio. You are the name brand that everyone's going to get over on just to enhance the winning brand. I believe that.
And you're going to get more credit for that win than you
probably should.
Right?
And that's a great way to put it too.
But it's there's a term in wrestling. Going over is more important than getting over, which means, and what do I mean by that? And a lot of times it's not who wins the match, but how the match plays out, right? Because you can lose the match but actually be put over. Because it's all about the fans and stuff. So
it is, yeah.
So, they got him buffaloed. But I think that this is quicker than most. Listen, Kyler Murray's on more of a hot seat than your boy Zadina. There's a hot take right there.
For now. For now. No, but appreciate everybody tapping in. Big thank you to Craig Reynolds and Joik Bell, too, for getting that set up. Giles, Andrew, Elliott, Watson with the Comeback Podcast. Remember, Darren McCarty's episode dropping tomorrow. That is a comeback. Sly Stallone, the executive producer. Big thanks to Sam. Big thanks to Sawyer. And all of you
Thanks,
for
Craig.
tapping in as well.
Deuces.
We'll be back at it tomorrow. Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Well, see you later.